How's it going? It's Todd Medina, Soldier One Studios. I felt like it was time for a spirit walk. I got about 3 things on my mind. But let me preface it by saying this. You may not want to listen to me. This is just something I do that I was moved to do. Started about 5 years ago on May 30th, 2011. I woke up the next day, everything was gone. And the reason you may not want to listen to me is because I got about $5 to my name. The only job I have is Sology. I made a little bit of money doing it with my good friend. Asked me to do an engagement by video. Really haven't tried to make any money with it because I've spent all my time trying to do it. Stay in the creative aspect and continue to try to grow it. But anyway, first thing I want to do is talk about your dreams. You know, when you're following your dreams and you're not hurting anybody, and let's just make a clarification. You're not hurting anybody if your intentions are where they should be. People get confused. They think if you violate their expectations, then they consider that not being responsible. Expectations are like excuses, right? And as they say in Texas, I won't say it. But it's important to follow your dreams, even if the whole world's telling you you're crazy. Hell, I know I'm crazy. I've been listening to the other side for almost 5 years now. I've never been happier. I got people all around me going crazy. You can always tell when the ego's talking, because all you hear out of the ego's mouth is I and you. I, you. I've learned to bless them and move on. Every time something happens, I embrace it, look at myself as deep as I can go, and move on. We don't live for other people. What was that old story that was going around on Facebook a couple of years ago about a nurse in a hospice, or maybe a group of nurses, and they asked people what was their biggest regret, and there was 5 of them listed, and the number one thing was biggest regret was living for other people and not living for yourself. So you got to follow your dreams and live that dream, because you're never going to get there just dreaming about it. You got to follow it up with the action of your intent. The second thing is hate. Hate's a powerful word, but in the paradoxical teaching of the universe, everything's upside down. And this is how hate works. The way hate works, for all you racists, for all you that have any kind of problem with somebody else, you can only hate something as much as you love it. So those things you really hate, guess what? You really love it. And not only that, being that everything outside of us is a mirror and a reflection of ourself, it's our higher self trying to teach us something. So if you really hate something, really don't like something, if you've got a problem with being suspicious of people all the time, doubting people all the time, not trusting people all the time, and we all have work to do, that's a reflection of you. That's a reflection of something your higher self is trying to tell you. So remember that. You can only hate. Let's just use an example that's real prevalent today in the world because it's being fed by the you know, whatever you want to call it, the Illuminati, you know. I don't believe in all those labels. But there's a big push to smear Muslims around the world. And it's actually being driven by what was the Khazarian Mafia. They're being destroyed now. The Bush, Clinton, Zionist, Saudis, that whole group did the 9/11 and all that stuff. Nobody wants to talk about it, but it's the truth. The Nazis, basically, that came out in World War II and populated NASA and the CIA. They're being brought down. Federal Reserve, they're being brought down. But what I'm trying to say is, get all this hatred, all this blame being poured in at Muslims. And the thing is, how much you hate those Muslims, if that's your position, or if you're a Muslim and you hate something else, whatever it is, it's just an example. The intensity of it is a measure of your love for what you're looking at. Now, bite that one off and chew on it, because it's true. That's the gospel. Fuck all those good books. They're full of shit. Excuse my French. But this is the apocalypse. This is the unveiling. We ain't got time to be getting upset about the F-bombs. We need to be getting upset with ourselves for following this world and not following our soul. That's what we need to do. That's the cold, hard truth. The brutal, beautiful honesty of the soul. That's where we're at. We're about to kick it up here at Soulogy. Big time. And I ain't making no bones about it. We're going to bring out some good music. Bring in some other people. And just keep trying to build it. There's no plan. There's no outline. And that's exactly how the universe has expanded since whatever you want to call it. Big Bang. Whatever you want to call it. When it started. It expands when you and I, together or alone, or a group of people, hold hands and go through that dream catcher. We don't know what's on the other side. The universe doesn't either, because we are the universe. Well, we're going to go find out. Yeah, life's too short. That's a cliche. I always walk here on the bayou. See it? Right next to the cemetery. I live right next to it. And the reason I do this, because it's a holy place for me. But the other reason is, so I can laugh. I found out early on when I started having other side experiences on the other side, that there's 4 pillars of the universe: peace, happiness, love, and humor. Believe me, the universe is laughing with us all the time. And if you can laugh with it, you can learn to chill out a little bit, not take everything so seriously. You know, if you're seriously thinking, well, I don't want to get into all those politics and all that, but I walk out here because it makes me laugh. There is no death, and we're living in an existence that makes you pay for a burial that isn't even true. It's the most ridiculous GD thing I've ever seen. Why not just get a funeral pyre, get a bunch of logs and some gasoline, and light that bitch on fire? Because your loved one ain't there. The spirit is the only thing that survives. That's the only reality there is, not what we're looking at. So, that's the thing you ought to hold on to. That's the thing you ought to try to discover. That's the thing you ought to try to get at beyond your religion, beyond your religious icon, beyond your countries and your political stances. Because those things are going to die with you. Now, the third thing, you know that old saying, birds of a feather flock together. Let me tell you something about victims. Victims like to stand next to each other and lick each other's wounds. Victims aren't your friends. Because your friends aren't going to blow smoke up your ass. Your friends aren't going to tell you what you want to hear. Friends are going to tell you the truth. And one thing about the truth, it knows it's eternal. It's like the soul we are knows it's eternal. And it's coming for you one way or the other. So you can keep hiding behind the booze and the pills. I've been there. The sex, the drugs, the rock and roll, the relationships. You can keep on lying to yourself, and then when the shit blows up, you go blame it on somebody else. But you know what? It's always going to come back to you. You're the mirror. They're the mirror. for each other. Well, sure do appreciate all the support. We're at 12,000 people in the group and over 13,000 in the other two pages. And I think there's a hell of a lot more people watching Soulogy than 25, 30,000 people. YouTube's going strong. Been doing Soul Speak videos. I got 14 of them out now. You might want to check it out. Soulogy One Studios on YouTube. All different kinds of songs. Call it Soul Speak. We're trying to develop a new genre. We're about to do our first collaboration. Had some freestyle rap we did in the studio and with somebody else. And then I've got Angie Love. You know her, that crazy woman. She's sending some vocals, and I got some other people and some other groups that are going to do it. We're going to start putting some music to it. Anybody that wants to help out, any DJ, anybody that wants to, that writes, that maybe wants somebody to speak their words, or that wants to write and speak the words, or sing the words, or whatever, bring it, claim it, be it, live it, just like this soul. I wish you all peace, power, protection. Big ass love from Soulogy One. And remember, one means one.